After the break, soaring rents and almost 50% fewer rooms. London's increasing rental crisis. Tonight, London's rental crisis laid bare. Exclusive figures shared with ITV News London show that over 5 years, average prices and demand in the capital have shot up by almost 30%. At the same time, there are almost 50% fewer rooms.
To be honest, the only options are you kind of struggle here or you go somewhere else.
Well, there are calls for rents to be capped in London, but would that even be enough to fix the problem? Also ahead. Thames Water fined more than £3 million for pumping millions of litres of undiluted sewage into rivers near Gatwick. Is Sadiq Khan's ULEZ expansion plan lawful? The latest on the councils challenging the mayor at the High Court. The 2020 Christmas lockdown party at Tory HQ in Westminster. Police investigate fresh evidence. And covers on at Wimbledon, but rain didn't stop play for Southend's Ryan Penniston taking on Sir Andy Murray. Good evening. The difficulty of finding affordable homes to rent is something that many Londoners will be more than familiar with. Renters right across the capital are facing rising average rents and a shortage in properties, all while the cost of living is at an all-time high. Figures shared exclusively with ITV News London by the flat share platform Spare Room show that from the start of 2019 to May of this year, the cost of renting rose by 27%, while there are 44% fewer rooms available. But when it comes to demand, the number of renters looking for rooms is up by 29%. Well, in a moment, we'll get some practical advice if you are a renter or indeed a landlord. But first, Toby Sadler on London's growing rental crisis.
The glass is in.
Caitlin and Damani are being forced out of their home. A rent hike and a subsequent row with their landlord means they're moving back in with Damani's mum. Meanwhile, their one-bed flat in Peckham Rye is back on the market for £2,000 a month.
We're almost 30 years old.
And we're kind of like, we want to be setting our life up together.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
You know, like,
it's
this
such
was
a step
the start
back.
of it. Us moving into this house, you know, we kind of got excited, bought sofa for it, like, and it just feels like a massive step back, really, to be honest, to be going back to my mum's with my girlfriend and, you know.
And it was really emotional, like, she's had people in viewing this place and this was the first place we've lived together.
Yeah.
Caitlin works with cancer patients at Guy's Hospital. Damani is a maths teacher.
Yes.
Is there a danger that people with your skills who are clearly in high demand are going to have to leave London because you can't afford to live here?
100%,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, as
We've
a
talked
teacher,
about it.
we've definitely talked about it. I mean, as a teacher, it's like, I talk to a lot of teachers and it's like quite easy for teachers to get work in different places in the world. To be honest, the only options are you kind of struggle here or you go somewhere else.
And this is far from rare. Figures from the flat-sharing site Spare Room suggest rents and demand are up, whilst the supply of flats is down.
We haven't built enough houses in this country since the 70s, and we are increasingly giving people money to afford housing rather than spending money on housing. So through things like Help to Buy, but also through housing benefit, which is an essential thing. We need housing benefit, but it should be a safety net for the people in dire need. It shouldn't be a way people live.
The renters united will never be defeated.
Protesters made their feelings clear this afternoon outside a landlord investment exhibition in London. In response, the message that landlords are also suffering.
Well, the situation for landlords is pretty precarious. Like most people, they're not exempt from the cost of living challenges, but they have increased mortgage rates, they have punishing taxation, that means they pay tax on their turnover rather than their profit. They have the threat of regulation and energy changes, and this is all conspiring to raise the cost of rents.
Out of the hinge.
There'll be little sympathy from tenants like Caitlin and Damani. He's from this area of South London, but is now facing the fact that he won't be able to make a life here. Toby Sadler, ITV News.
Well, Danusha Brightwell from Citizens Advice joins me now. Danusha, thank you so much for talking to us. We just saw Caitlin and Amani there. They're having to move out of their home, they have to move out of London. How many people are coming to you with similar problems?
It's one of the main problems that's coming into Citizens Advice at the moment. People are coming with sort of 2, 3, sometimes even 4 issues, but housing is a massive issue at the moment. And of course, because rents in the capital are so expensive, and now because of mortgage rates going up, everything's going up again. It's just becoming excruciatingly painful.
All compounded by the cost of living crisis, of course. And is it specifically rents? So are people finding that suddenly landlords are putting up rent, or is it the fact that, you know, they just can't find affordable property because there's just such a shortage?
Yeah, a combination of those two things. So obviously rents have come up quite a lot since mortgage interest rates went up, and landlords are trying to pass down that cost. Sometimes that's the only way they can afford to actually kind of proceed. On the other side, of course, the local housing allowance hasn't really kept up with the times and is quite low. So a lot of people might be £200-300 short for their rent and have to top it up for money that they have for energy bills and food and that sort of thing.
So for people who find themselves in that position and they come to Citizens Advice and they're asking for help, what can you do for them? How can you help them?
Sure. So there's quite a few things. We can do things like benefit checks to make sure that they've applied for everything that they can get. Local councils also have discretionary housing payments that you can apply for to help top up your rent if you've got a shortfall. There's grants and that sort of thing as well. So the main thing is not to suffer in silence. Get on the phone. We're, you know, free, independent, confidential advice. We don't share any information with government bodies, so you can ask us whatever you want, and we can do our best to try and, try and advise you on what the best options could be.
I mean, if there was a government spokesperson here now, they would say, look, we've got plans now to, for example, ban no-fault evictions. Is that going to make a big difference, do you think?
I'm not sure how much difference it will make, and we'll know on Advice Line on the calls coming through, but as it is, that will take some time, and there's probably going to be loopholes that could be exploited potentially.
We're just seeing these pictures now. These people outside today in London protesting, calling for a rent cap in the capital. Should we have one? It exists in other cities around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be marvellous, although I can't really see it happening. But obviously people are priced out, people of all ages, so you know, perhaps that's something that needs to really be considered. Yeah,
well, listen to Danusha from Citizens Advice. You're always there for help and advice. Thank you very much for talking to me tonight. Thank you. Moving on now, did Sadiq Khan follow the rules with his ultra-low emission zone expansion?
Sadiq Khan. The councils have brought a joint judicial review set to cost around £500,000 of taxpayer money. A last-ditch attempt to try to stop the ULEZ expansion in its tracks.
Life in outer London is very different to that in London. People are dependent on the car because we don't have a tube station on the corner of every street. We don't have any tubes in Bexley, so good luck with finding one.
The leaders may be against the very concept of expansion, but this is a case on technicalities, including issues with the scope of the scrappage scheme and problems with the mayor's consultation.
Part of the reason for this judicial review coming is a lack of consultation by the mayor. Have you held a consultation with your residents about this legal action?
Informally, yes. Spoken to many residents' groups.
That informally doesn't count, does it?
Well, what did the mayor do with his consultation? Did he pay any notice to it? We know, we're confident.
That is why one of the reasons you're calling this judicial review is a lack of consultation.
We are confident, very confident, that we speak on behalf of the vast majority of Bromley residents.
How can you know that?
Well, I'm very happy to be tested on it in 2026 at the next elections. I'm that certain.
For Robert Goldbert, his business is literally his van. He's considering folding because of the thousands he'll have to skim off his profits to pay the daily charge.
We operate on very, very narrow margins. I'm selling coffee, it's selling drinks, selling sandwiches. Just that, I know it doesn't sound like much, but just that much is enough to make or break a business.
The councils argue ULEZ will disproportionately affect those with the least money, like tradespeople. Air quality campaigners say health has to come first.
ULEZ is one measure that can make a difference to help clean up the air. We know that nearly 600,000 people live in London with asthma and COPD.
The hearing is due to finish tomorrow. The judge will give a ruling at a later date. The councils think if they win, it won't just delay the expansion, but put the brakes on permanently. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Now, the Met Police have confirmed they are reopening their investigation into alleged COVID breaches at a Christmas event for former mayoral candidate Sean Bailey's campaign team in December 2020. Well, Cafe Patter has been following what's been happening. What have police said today?
I mean, just when we think the whole Partygate drama is over, there's another development. And like you said, it's the party from December 2020 involving Sean Bailey and his campaign team whilst he was campaigning for mayor. You might remember last year that there was a photograph released from, with Bailey and his team at a Christmas party. The police decided not to investigate. However, Bailey did apologise. He also stepped down as from his role as chair of the Police and Crime Commission. Then a few weeks ago, there was another video from the party showing people not socially distancing. And it seems that it's this video which has triggered the investigation. Now, the Met and Thames Valley Police have said that following an assessment of new evidence that was not previously provided to officers, the Met is now reopening an investigation into potential breaches of the regulations at an event in Matthew Parker Street on 14 December 2020. Matthew Parker Street is where Bailey's party took place. 14 December 2020 is when the party took place. Now it's up for authorities to decide whether or not they're going to be issuing a fixed penalty notice and if there were any potential breaches of COVID regulations.
All right, Kath, thank you. Some other news now. A fugitive who was on the run for more than 3 years after choking a man to death in South London has pleaded guilty to the killing. Justin Bellow was attacked by Stacey Scott in his home in Stockwell in 2019. Scott fled the country 4 days after, but was arrested in Jamaica earlier this year. He's expected to be sentenced in August. And the actor Kevin Spacey had a panicked look on his face after being rejected by a man he assaulted, a court has heard. The alleged victim told a police officer that Spacey kissed his neck twice before grabbing him. Spacey also spent time as artistic director of London's Old Vic, has denied multiple counts of assault. The trial continues. The beleaguered Thames Water suffered another blow this morning. The company's been fined over £3 million after millions of litres of undiluted sewage were pumped into the River Mole almost 6 years ago. Sentencing took place over 2 days at Lewis Crown Court. Antoine Allen is in Hawley by the river there. And Antoine, this was the last thing Thames Water needed.
Not at all. It is reported that Thames Water are in billions of pounds worth of debt, and it was only last week that their CEO resigned due to the investigation into these leaks. Now, Thames Water serve a quarter of the UK population. That includes 15 million Londoners and people in the Thames Valley area. But this investigation have been fined £3.3 million after it discharged millions of pounds of undiluted sewage into two rivers. One of them is literally just behind me, which caused the death of many, many fish. The Environment Agency that looked into these leaks issued this statement.
We classified it as a major environmental impact. This is because thousands of fish were killed. We recovered 1,400 fish from the Gatwick Stream and the River Mole. I think it was over 250 kilograms of fish were actually removed, so it was a real environmental disaster. But there would have been many, many more fish that were killed that we didn't get to.
Thameslink have apologised and issued this statement. The incident occurred due to the running of a storm pump in error. It should not have happened, and we deeply regret the incident. We would also like to express my sincere apologies for those aspects of our response to the incident 6 years ago that led to the finding that we misled the regulator. We fully accept that we made a significant error. The latest prosecution for Thameslink is one of the fines they'll be dealing with over a course of from 2017 to 2023. They've had to pay over £35 million worth to the incidents that involve pollution. Fines that seemingly the company can't afford.
All right, Antoine in Hawley, thank you. Still to come on the programme.
Made me wanna pay your bills, blowing money for the thrill.
The producer behind Skepta and other stars taking charge of the mic, and summer in the city but rainy days in Wimbledon. But first, the Tower of London has a new floating neighbour. A brand new tower lifeboat station has been towed into place on the Thames. It replaces the old RNLI station from 2002. A few weeks ago, it became the first RNLI unit to achieve 10,000 life-saving missions. Anila Dami went for a tour.
This shows the first steps of the first rescue mission from the newly built RNLI station at Tower Bridge on Friday, 28th of April. Serving communities between Barking and Battersea, crews here have already saved 7 lives and had 130 call-outs on the choppy waters of the Thames.
This new pier now has got a 75-year lifespan, so you know it's going to be here for a long time, a lot of years, and it's fantastic for the people in London that we've got this on the river.
We've followed the journey of this new sustainable station on the Victoria Embankment with a first aid and training room, replacing the old station that was opened in 2002. Crews now have a proper place to sleep, and on the old one they could only have half a cup of tea because this place used to be rocking with the choppy water. And let me show you why. It used to be moored right up against that wall there, but now it's moved much further back. It's a lot steadier and you can hardly feel a thing. In June, this location became the first in the country to pass the 10,000 call-out mark. 71-year-old Linda Martin was rescued by Steve after suddenly collapsing on board a pleasure cruise on the Thames last July.
It was a great comfort really for my daughter and my grandson to see professional people come to take charge of the situation. They were very quick on the scene, they were very kind, so you know it's wonderful to have that available.
60 volunteers and 16 female staff. They're adamant they champion equality and diversity.
We are very inclusive and very diverse. We've got people from all ethnic backgrounds, and I think currently we've got 16 female crew, and they're fantastic. They're all fantastic. All the crew we got here are brilliant.
As we rock while filming, Steve's keen to remind people to stay safe.
It's just think, you know, just be really careful around the river.
Despite their presence on the Thames, this station hopes there'll be more people in the visitor centre than needing their rescue efforts. Anila Dami, ITV News.
Now, he is a musician, a producer from North London who is behind some huge hits by the likes of Skepta. You may have just heard of him, but now Rags Original's taken his big first step into the spotlight as a solo artist with the release of his debut album, Bear Sugar. This is what he sounds like.
Made me wanna pay your bills, blowing money for the thrill. When I put in overtime, my lady knows I was troubling you last night. My lady knows I was troubling you last night.
Oh, I'm very pleased to say that Rags joins me live in studio. Hello.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm very pleased to meet you. We saw a little bit of your, now that's one single, Pay Your Bills. But this is the first time that we're actually hearing you, I guess, because you've been a producer for such a long time. But now you are essentially taking centre stage. What's it like?
It's amazing, you know, but at the same time, you know, I feel like it's something I was always meant to do, so it feels natural. Stepping on stage, doing the shows and making music as well.
How long have you been actually making music for?
What, in general, like in total? I don't know, maybe like eight good years on my time.
Did you start very young? How old are you now?
Not really, 30 now. No. Yeah.
And what's it been like? What's the main difference between working with other people? Because like we said, they work with Skepta. I mean, obviously he's huge, he's had some massive hits, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What's it like doing it on your own? Do you feel kind of a bit more exposed, I guess.
Yeah, it's different. I feel like I got a whole different type of attachment to my own music now, where I never had before. When you're working with other people, you could just like live in their world, but like when it's yours, it's like the pressure's on. Like I feel like everyone's just looking at me.
Do you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about doing stuff like this? Like the press, the promo, and all the rest of it?
It's all right. It's like loads of bright lights, but you know, I'm used to it, shows and stuff, so it's cool.
And we're nice generally.
Yeah.
We're nice. And we just saw a bit of Skepta there. Has he heard the new music? What does he think about the album?
I think he thinks it's great.
Yeah, good.
He should do, yeah.
And didn't you work on it with your brother as well? You
Yeah.
My little brother. So, what was that like?
Yeah, my little brother, E-Wiz.
Yeah.
That's, you know, it's crazy because working with family, it's like you can really like push and test yourself.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it can either work really well or it can go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But how was it with you guys?
It's cool. It's like neck and neck because no one's scared of anyone. So it's like arguments are just like at all-time high, but like the opinions are at all-time high. But like also the products is also at all-time high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, I mean, you grew up in Tottenham, didn't you? So what was it like there, the music scene kind of back in the day? And do you think there's enough out there now to encourage kind of new talents from London?
Yeah, I feel like there's so much like culture and community in these places, and it's so raw, and it like always breeds from like different generations moving up. So yeah, 100%, like it's an inspiring place.
Yes. So now the album is out. Bare Sugar.
Yeah, Bare Sugar.
So what happens next? Is it lots of touring? Is it lots of on-stage performances?
So we play All Points East Festival in August.
Yeah, where's that again?
Somewhere in London.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it Finsbury Park? I might have made that up.
I think so.
We need to look it up. It might be Finsbury Park.
And then go on a tour in October, so like a UK EU tour as well. So they're playing all over London, Scala as well. So
Scala. What a great venue. Well, listen, it's good to hear your new music, and it's nice to meet you, Rags Original.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
I appreciate it.
Come back and see us.
Love.
Thank you. But stay there, don't go yet. Sport now. A disappointment for Surrey's Ollie Pope after it was confirmed the batter will miss the rest of the Ashes series. The England vice-captain dislocated his shoulder during his Lord's Test. His bad luck, though, could give Essex's Dan Lawrence a chance to stake his claim. Staying with sports, and Southend tennis player Ryan Penniston was on centre court for a place in Wimbledon's second round. The roof was closed due to the rain, of course, when the world number 267 took on his hero and double Wimbledon champion Sir Andy Murray. Were politicians, princesses and celebrities were in the crowd. Sally was watching too.
Wimbledon began with cheers off the court today as tennis royalty met British royalty. The Princess of Wales among those giving 8 times Wimbledon champion Roger Federer a lengthy applause in honour of his achievements here. In true British style, the rain came down and the roofs went on. But for this couple, that was an opportunity.
We were literally just in London. We saw the rain started coming down and probably scared off the queue. We just walked straight in. So we're just like, because we've been watching it on TV and we're very excited.
On court, the big draw was a rare Brit versus Brit tie. The Southend wildcard Ryan Penniston taking on 2 times Wimbledon champion Sir Andy Murray. Spotted cheering them on, our very own Rags Martell. But 27-year-old Ryan has a remarkable story. Diagnosed with cancer aged 1, he underwent chemotherapy and surgery. He's now ranked 7th in the country. The game was never going to be easy for Ryan Penniston, the crowd torn perhaps between their hero and their hopes for the future. But Andy Murray took the 3 sets, and in the last half hour it was game, set and match to Murray.
Too good.
It was a difficult draw for Ryan and meant the first day of Wimbledon was also his last. But as he appreciated the crowd from all walks of life, there was a sense he's got a lot left for another year.
Oh, shame for Ryan. Never mind about Federer. Oh, Rags.
I
From
know.
one Rags to another one.
I know. Someone said today, I thought he was sick.
Cat's out the back. No, he's not.
Caught on camera.
Fine. Can you imagine?
But listen, typical. It's raining and it's Wimbledon. It kind of like goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
We all like soggy strawberries, don't we? Do you want to see the Wimbledon forecast?
Yeah,
it's very similar to ours. Let's take a little look. So you can see it's not going to be as bad tomorrow. We've got some showers around, but generally not as bad. And
Friday.
Then it gets drier into Thursday. Friday.
Boiling.
Scorchio.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't think of anything worse than playing tennis in that temperature. Can you imagine?
Yes, but I won't be playing tennis, so I'll be quite happy with that.
It's been a few years. I'm opting for the telly. Right, here we go. Here's all the rest of the details.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely day, even though it was a bit grey and, of course, wet at times. More rain to come this evening. There will be some heavy bursts as well outside. Fewer showers, though, tomorrow and a tiny bit warmer. It's going to get a bit warmer as we go through to Friday when it could actually be quite hot at times. So let's take a look at the detail for you. There you go. That rain becoming more persistent through the evening. Heavy from time to time. The wind's picking up as well, particularly at the east coast. Eventually, it clears off out of the way and the end of the night generally drier. Temperatures struggling a little bit. They'll probably just about stay up into double figures in the towns and cities. But tomorrow the story is that it's brighter generally. I mean, there is still some cloud outside and there will still be some showers cropping up here or there. Perhaps the further east you are, there could be a heavy one, maybe a rumble of thunder. But as you can see, plenty of dry breaks as well. Some sunshine trying to come through, which will boost the temperatures 19 or 22 tomorrow. So a little bit up on today, but it is a breezier story, which might slightly take the edge off things. And as we head into the evening, still the odd shower here or there, but generally clearing off out of the way and drying up. Thursday then looks slightly drier still, temperatures creeping up before they pop right up on Friday. Here's the pollen.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Now, thankfully, pollen levels have dropped down a bit with the rain. Should be a fairly similar story tomorrow, although the weather is a little bit better. But as things recover into Thursday and Friday, I'm afraid those levels are up again. That's it. See you later. Cheerio.
Thanks, Sally. Just before we go, a reminder, the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards take place later this year, and we're looking for your help to find a fantastic fundraiser to represent ITV News London at the ceremony. It's one of the biggest events in the showbiz calendar, but it's the real people, not the celebrities, who are the stars of the show. And each year, one fantastic fundraiser gets to represent ITV London and attend the awards at Grosvenor House. They're even in with a chance of winning the overall regional fundraiser of the year award. So if you know someone who fits the bill, you can head to our website. That's itv.com/Pride of Britain. You can only nominate individuals and they must be aged 18 years old or over.
The Pride of Britain Awards are all about the special people who make our world a better place to live in. And the ITV Regional Fundraiser Awards is where you come in, because we're looking for those people who go that extra mile to raise money.
Thank you, Carol. That is it from us. The ITV Evening News is at 6:30 with Charlene. But for now, from all of us on the London team, bye-bye. Have a great evening.